You guys see this guy right here? Do you see my mouse right there on this guy? He is on this webinar. He is in the house. This is David Cassar, and he is just like cool as all get out. David, tell everybody hello.
Hey guys, hey Lee, thanks for having me today.
I'm really excited. You know, you and I have been talking a little bit about what you're going to tell these folks, and it's just pretty phenomenally amazing. Let's do this. Let's get you to share your screen.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do that now, but I'm still having that issue. Let me just try one more thing.
Hang on, guys. Well, we got a bunch of people piling on here anyway, so
it's not letting me share the screen at all. Let me. Shall I log back out and come back and join again? Maybe. Let's try something else.
Hold on. Oh no, just hold on a minute. Yeah. Okay. Well, darn it. It's according to who has control.
Okay.
File. This is the first webinar I've ever run. That's a joke. This is like the 2000th webinar, but let's just see. I don't know why it's not doing that. Maybe this, maybe that. Here we go. Make presenter. No, wrong. Hold on. I made somebody else a presenter. That's really funny. Greg, just hang in there, buddy. David, I was trying to make you the presenter. And I had somebody else. I know, it's utterly ridiculous. Now, no damn body is the presenter. Make presenter. Make David Cassar the presenter.
Oh, there we go.
How about it? Sorry, guys. It's usually my screen that shows instead of somebody else's. But anyway, David, this is going to be really cool.
All right. Can you see my screen?
We can see your screen.
Okay.
I got some questions for you when you get ready.
Yeah, sure. Let me just grab everything.
So, guys, this is going to be loose and informal. David knows so much that we can only barely scratch the surface today. He does have, and he just told me about this, which is why we were a minute or two late in starting, some amazingly cool and very generous bonuses for you, which we're going to give away. If you'll stay on till the end of the webinar is probably going to last an hour and 15 minutes, something on that order.
Yeah.
And questions, guys. If you have questions, just pop them in the chat. We welcome questions. If they're apropos to what David's talking about at the moment, then we'll talk about the question. If not, we're going to save it to, we're going to have some good Q&A at the end, all right? So David,
hey,
you and I met each other like, what, 2 months ago or so? And
yeah,
I'd heard about you a long time, and really glad that I can't remember who actually made the introduction, but it was really great.
Yeah.
How did you actually get into this deal? I mean, tell us a little bit about your background, how you got, because you're like the PPC mega king, but one is not born that way. So what happened to lead up to that?
Yeah. So basically, so I'll tell you where I'm at right now, and then I'll backtrack a little bit. So basically, I'm a Google AdWords PPC consultant. I've managed over $1 million in ad spend, and I've generated over $4 million for myself and for my clients. But it wasn't always this easy. I'd say going back 10 years ago, I actually started out helping local businesses generate leads. I had a friend at the time, and he said that, you know what, this mortgage brokers were having a hard time generating leads, and I was kind of dabbling, and I'd actually just lost my job at the time. I was working at a call center, and about 50 or so people lost their jobs, and because of a restructure and a takeover, and they got bought out. And I just thought, you know what, I've got to make this work. I've got to do something. And one of my friends introduced me to, helping local businesses. And ever since I started doing that, things have just been really taking off. So I started dabbling in PPC and SEO, and I started selling leads to local businesses. That's really where it all started. I set up a simple website. Mind you, it took a very long time to figure this out, and I literally spent thousands and thousands of dollars. So it didn't happen overnight. I had to be very, very persistent with it, and I made it work. So what I did was I set up a site that was generating leads for local mortgage brokers. But the funny thing is, I haven't even set a deal with any mortgage broker. I didn't have any clients. I literally started from scratch, ground zero, with very little money, and a hosting account, a domain name, and just some persistence to make it happen. So I started generating leads for mortgage brokers, and I had about 20 or 30 leads coming in every single day. And that's when I decided, hey, okay, I'm going to approach a few mortgage brokers to see if they're interested. And I kind of leaned in with the giving hand, and there's a few mentors that I had that taught me this. Sometimes you can't just go in there trying to take. You've got to add value, and you've got to give. And that's why I thought, you know what, I'm going to invest just a few bucks to generate some leads, and then I'm going to pick up the phone or and email a few mortgage brokers to see if they're interested. So if you take one thing from this webinar, really pay attention to this, because it really saved me a lot of time and heartache. Is what I did was I contacted about 10 mortgage brokers, and 7 of them got back to me saying, yeah, sure, I'd love to get 5 free leads to test it out. And I gave 7 brokers 5 free leads to test out. And I said, okay, I'm going to give you these leads, and I want you to get back to me and tell me if they're good or not. And then we can discuss further if you want to buy these leads, and then give me a commission from every mortgage that you sign. So 7 brokers, gave them 5 leads each, and 5 of them got back to me saying, hey, these leads are actually not bad. Let's do a deal. So I ended up doing a deal with 5 brokers, selling these leads at $25 a pop, and a percentage, I think it was 2% of his commission, which is quite big with mortgage brokers. And out of those 5 mortgage brokers, 3 of them, they were honest with me, and that was really interesting, because a lot of them wanted to get the leads, but they were saying, yeah, we closed the deals, or we didn't close the deals. But the 3 that were honest with me, they closed a lot of deals, and one of them actually, he was just a work from home dad. He just got his mortgage lending license, and he went on to do $22 million in signed mortgages in the first 6 months. And that's really where it all started, and yeah, I've worked with massive companies, right? I've worked with Fortune 500s, I've worked with Avon, I've built ads for Ernst & Young, but the thing that gets me the most excited is when I help a small business or a local business, a one-man band, and just take him to a level that he never dreamed of. And that's really where I started and what gets me really excited. And I've actually got a few case studies of people that had hobby businesses that went on to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'll share more about that later. But yeah, Lee, that's basically how I got started in all of this.
I love that story. I'm sitting there listening to it, and I'm kind of like, well, what are the big takeaways? Number one, you didn't wait to be an expert before you got started.
No, not at all.
You just kind of dove in and said, if I spend enough time and a little bit of money, I can figure this out too, right?
Yeah.
And you went after a really hungry market, which is mortgage brokers. How did you decide on mortgage brokers?
One of my friends was in the finance industry, and he was doing a lot of consulting and financial planning. And when he started to tell me the amount of commissions that mortgage brokers have, and the biggest problem they have was getting highly qualified leads. And not just that, but exclusive leads, because there's a lot of lead companies, even till today, there's a lot of lead generation companies, but they don't provide exclusivity. And if they do, it costs an arm and a leg. So these mortgage brokers were buying leads, and these leads were being shared with 10, 20 other different companies. Excuse me. So they had to really get on these leads really, really fast in order to produce a conversion. When I heard that, I thought, you know what? I'm no expert, but just putting two and two together, if I just generated some exclusive leads, these guys will pay me the premium, and if they're honest, they'll pay me a commission on every single loan that they sign.
I love that. Keeping it simple, finding a nice fat part of the market there. And by the way, anybody on the call, nothing's changed in the mortgage industry. I mean, I got another friend who does nothing but sell leads to mortgage lenders, like mortgage brokers. It's still hyper competitive, and I think a lot of those lead companies that they normally buy from, those are leads that are made available to many people. So it's kind of a, you kind of jump on it, and it's really competitive, and basically they don't work out that well that often, and it's extremely stressful to be doing that. And mortgage brokering doesn't work like it used to 20 years ago.
Yeah.
John says there's no sound. John, we did a sound check with everybody else. If somebody else can't hear us, well, why am I talking to John? He has no sound, but I'll type. I'll tell John what to do, typing, and just say, I just got so excited about what you were saying. So I love that. And then, it's kind of like the Allies invading Normandy Beach, right? I mean, they didn't try to just conquer France and Germany all in one day, right? I mean, they just got this little beachhead and then worked out from there. And you did the same thing, and it worked really, really well.
Yeah. And what else happened? What else happened was basically, after these local businesses started to get a lot of success, they started to be in so much profit that they decided to, start new businesses. And when they started new businesses, guess who they came to? They came to me. They said, hey, Dave, you really helped us take this business to a new level. How about we pay you $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 in some cases to help us take this business to the next level? And this time they knew that they were paying me so much in leads and commission, they thought we're better off just giving Dave a big lump sum to help us take another business. And that's generally what happens. You help one local business, take them to the next level. Just the next logical step for them is, how do we scale this, or scale up or scale out with new ideas and new products? And then they just end up coming back to you.
Were they starting other mortgage brokerage firms, or were they starting entirely different businesses?
No, they were basically going into different products, so different lending products. So there's mortgages.
Interesting.
Let's get into different types of mortgages, USDA mortgages, no deposit home loans in Australia, and then they go into
very cool
personal lending. But there have been cases of people going into completely different markets and said, hey, well, can you do the same thing for e-commerce products? My wife has a business. One of my clients said, my wife's got this little business and she wants to take it to the next level. And I was like, yeah, well, it works. It works in any local business, in any market, in any language, when you set things up properly.
I mean, from what you've told me, you actually have clients who are everything from a little laptop business, although with your help, their revenue's not little, but in terms of the infrastructure, they're the little laptop business all the way up to, you mentioned working with Ernst & Young and businesses like that. How did you get into the big corporate work?
Well, basically what was happening was agencies in London and New York were starting to get a hold of who's setting up these campaigns that are doing so well. And one of my clients made the referral, and then I started working with these agencies. And because these agencies were quite big in New York and London, they were saying, okay, well, let's try and close these really big deals. And that's basically how it came about. It just started off really small, and because these agencies have that relationship with a lot of big companies, they just said, hey, let's help us close these deals. And I jumped on calls with multiple agencies as their go-to guru, and that's how we landed some really, really big deals. But, like I said before, the thing that excites me the most is working with smaller companies. Yeah. I had a client, he came to me and he said, Dave, I'm basically breaking even. And if this keeps on continuing, then I'm going to be out of business in 2 months. And this was a really cool case study. And we turned it around in a week, basically doubled what he was spending. And the cool part is 3 months later, his competitors bought him out for several $100,000, over 300,000, and another 200,000 to do a non-compete. So there was like $500,000. And this was a guy that just came to me and said, hey, you know, I'm a one-man band working from my spare bedroom at home. And I was like, oh my God. And in 1 week we turned it around, and his competitors got so upset that they made him an offer and bought him out.
Well, you know, this is, and I'm guessing, you know, because you've told me other stories like that, and this doesn't happen all the time, but I think this is not like winning the lotto or something. That that this really speaks to the power of what you do, right?
Totally.
I mean, it has. I mean, when you learn to do it, which guys, I was talking with David about this. I mean, David's a smart guy. But it's not like David, don't take this the wrong way. It's not like we have Albert Einstein on here. Basically, someone who's doing just something so esoteric that nobody else understands that another well-meaning person can't learn it. I mean, David just told us he started out. He, you know, had to work his way through some things. You know, he went through a learning curve. But David, you were willing to stick it out.
Yeah.
And you were, and then just by following up with that and just going naturally where the business seemed to go. And I think really it has a lot to do with the paid business model, which is basically, because that's instant traffic, you know. I mean, you pay money, you get traffic. So, and if you know what you're doing, then you can get a positive ROI for your clients, which means that within the, you know, within the dictates of their cash flow, that they're not going to just walk away, right, and say, oh, okay, we made a bunch of money, David, thank you so much, goodbye. You know, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work that way.
They always come back with new ideas, and they want you to, and that's really the point where you can cherry pick who you want to work with.
Yeah.
You know? Is I think the problem with a lot of small businesses now is that they have to take on work they really don't want to take on. And when you get to that point where it's like, you know what, I'm going to cherry pick, I'm going to increase my prices, and things just become a lot easier. You start to attract some really, really good clients, not the tire kickers or low ballers or anything like that.
Yeah, speaking of tire kickers and low ballers, you know, guys, on the sign up page, I really like to make sure that you understand why you're spending your time and what you're going to learn. And I recognize a lot of names on this webinar. There are a lot of names that are new to me, and thank you so much for believing in this enough to, you know, spend your time. I like to make sure that our webinars always deliver on the promise of the sign up page, and I want you to learn some stuff totally for free. So another thing that you do, David, is you've got this thing down to a freaking science. In other words, you don't waste time with people who are, or with businesses who are going to be a pain, who want something for nothing, and who are really just, you know, they're just not ready, willing, and able as buyers. So let's look at that first thing that we promised people would learn. How David skips the tire kickers, the low ballers, and the pains in the ass, and only works with top paying, easy to work with clients. Can you fill us in? Because I know you have a specific method. Can you fill us in on the specific method?
Sure. So the secret here is buyer intent and finding buyer intent keywords. So you're not A, wasting a lot of money on your advertising, and B, when the people do see your ad and they land on your page, they feel like they're in the right place at the right time to complete. Can I share? Go ahead and share the audience what I use.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So I've obviously built, for those of you that don't know, I put together a consultancy pack, and inside this pack, I'm basically giving you all of the buyer intent keywords that I have used for recruiting local businesses, with from mortgage brokers and so on. But I'll just quickly show you that quickly, and then I'm going to show you how I'll answer that question. So I've put together this pack, and it's for several different local businesses, as you can see here.
David, while you do that, I will pop this into the chat for everybody. Now, guys, again, this is something that's for sale, but don't worry, you're going to learn for free an amazing amount of stuff. So just
I'm
hang
just
in there.
jump in
And
now.
if you want to take David up on this, please do.
Yeah.
But
So
because
just
it's fairly amazing what he's got there. So
there's quite a few different local markets that that I've tapped into. So let me just go into carpet cleaning. I'll just go into the PPC keywords and let me just go in here. So really, it's all about buyer intent. A lot of people, they just don't know what keywords to bid for. They'll be like, okay, I've built a really cool page. It's ready to generate leads, but they go ahead and they type in mortgages, and they're not really getting the right keywords, the buyer intent keywords. And these are the keywords that people are actually looking for, that product or service that you have to offer. And I've actually put together.
Let's make this totally clear for people. A buyer intent keyword. So David, correct me if I'm wrong. A buyer intent keyword is a keyword that somebody else sitting there out there in cyberspace using a computer, who's really, let's use the mortgage broker thing, who's really, they're ready to buy a house, or maybe they've got their eye on one, or they want to get qualified so much they can pay, but they need to talk to a lender. And these would be the types of keywords they would type in at that moment, right?
Yeah, exactly. And somebody's actually looking, they're not just looking for, they're not doing a college paper, they're not doing some homework at high school. They're looking for, a high risk insurance broker, or just, use that, or a travel insurance broker. So I put together, so that's really the key thing. And a lot of people get it wrong, or they hire the wrong PPC consultant or agency to help them do the keywords, because nobody, understands your market as well as you do. And when you sit down to brainstorm or come up with the keywords, you need to come up with keywords that are actually going to lead to a result, whether that's a lead, a sale, or a new client. And that's really the answer to that question here. It's really finding that buyer intent keywords, which I've put together in this document, which will be one of the many things that's provided inside the consultant's pack.
Now that would be like you're using, we're looking at a bunch of keywords for insurance there. Those buyer intent keywords would be something you would use with your insurance client.
Yeah.
What kind of buyer intent keywords would you use for yourself? Let's say somebody gets really excited about this, which y'all should get excited about. This is very exciting. They want to start offering the same kind of services that you offer to businesses. In other words, pay-per-click services. They're going to follow your model, and y'all are going to see a ton of stuff as the webinar goes on. They're going to follow your model, and they want to start buying some traffic for themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
So now what?
I don't think I've shared it with you, but I also have another file in this big pack where it focuses on B2B, and these are the buyer intent keywords for. So I wanted to get more pest control or personal trainers as clients. I've got another file with 20 different niche markets in there. So I've already done that. So people looking for personal trainer leads, personal trainer marketing, exclusive personal trainer leads. Let's go to insurance broker. So be market insurance broker marketing, insurance broker leads. So these are the keywords that you would use if you wanted to just get more business for yourself. Instead of trying to get more business for that local business, just say you wanted to get that local business first, you would basically go through the B2B keywords that I've put inside the pack. So
now these people don't even have to think, right? I mean,
no.
our audience. I mean, guys, you can get the idea. I mean, look through some of these keywords. So these keywords here are keywords that, let's say a home inspecting. Let's say you had a business. Let's say you were a freelance home inspector. You had a small home inspection business. You really need some help with marketing. You get in front of your computer one night and you say, man, who can help me? And then you start typing in home inspection leads, home inspection marketing, home inspection businesses, home inspection, like that. And So guys, if you are setting up a business like David's and you're paying for these keywords, then that's going to land some traffic on your website, your web page, your squeeze page, whatever. And we'll cover all that in just a little bit.
Yeah.
At which point you would be getting leads in order to sell them the same process, but from the point of view of getting them leads.
Yeah, exactly.
This is amazingly done for you, David. I didn't even know you had this.
No. There's a lot more to it, which is really cool, because it just means there's a lot more that your audience just does not have to do. Now, the other thing is how I actually qualify. Just going on to the second point on the landing page.
Sure.
I believe it's here. So how I actually qualify the prospects, because what you'll find is when you start generating leads, when you follow the consultancy pack system, you'll actually start getting leads. I have no doubt about that. But then you've got the problem of, okay, how do we qualify these leads? And I've actually put together a done-for-you questionnaire, and this questionnaire will basically filter out all the tire kickers. And one way is whether they're replying to these questions. I've actually automated this process through a calendar appointment company called Calendly. We can send your users the link to that. I think it's calend.ly. And I just get them to answer all of these questions. And this is how I qualify them. I'll ask them to describe their business, what their goals are. And usually the ones that respond very quickly, answering all of these questions and booking an appointment with me is really just the first step of how I call it, whether they're a tire kicker or not. And that way I know, should I follow up with, so say I have 50 leads and only 10 of them respond, I'm just going to follow up with the 10 that actually respond. And then I may, push the other 40 another email just to see if they can complete this questionnaire. So that way I'm not wasting my time trying to contact 50 people. I'm just going to go straight for the top 10. And that's how I close the deal really fast. That's how I qualify them.
I love that. So to summarize that, now guys, I put the link to Calendly in the chat, so you can click on that and take a look at it. But basically, using the buyer keywords, people are going to, land on your whatever. When we'll talk about the whatever in a minute. So let's say, a business owner says, yeah, I'm kind of interested in what this guy does. I wonder if he can help me. They click on something, and then they land here, and then they're asked all these questions, at which point the answers before you ever decide to even talk to them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And once you've got all this
is genius.
Once you've got all this information back from the client, that it just helps you give a more accurate quote based on the information that they provide. Because the last thing you want to do is quote a client, and then in the end they've got more things that they want to add to the consultation or the done for you service that you're providing for them. This way you're getting to know them, their target audience, which will obviously lead to more and more questions. And then after that,
let me ask you a follow-up question to that. Are there any red flags that you look at when somebody fills that out and gets it back to you, and you'll look at it and say, I'm not talking to them. They either can't buy or they'll be a pain in the neck or something like that. Are there any things that set off alarms that these people should know about?
Yeah, I think the people that don't really know who their target market is one of them. The people that don't respond straight away, and the ones that have unrealistic goals. I think that's probably the biggest one. The people that have unrealistic, they go, I want to make $1 million a month, and I want it to happen in the next 30 to 90 days or whatever it is. Like, anybody who comes to you with completely unrealistic goals, I guarantee they're going to be a ball breaker. They're going to really, really annoy you from the get-go. And I tend to, it just depends. If they're currently spending zero money and they've got these massive goals, I think you've just got to bring them back down to earth and just explain to them that, it just doesn't work that way. There's a discovery process that you have to go through to figure out what works and what doesn't work for that particular niche market, which I've obviously provided all this stuff. But that's probably the biggest thing. When they come to you with unrealistic expectations,
Right.
if you can manage those expectations really well, then I'm sure it will work out. But those are really the biggest.
Or it sounds like also from what you said, when they come to you and they don't understand their business also.
Yeah, exactly. They don't understand who their target market are. And I tend to stay away from them. And people who linger, like they take a really long time to reply, that just says they can't afford it anyway. They're not ready right now to move forward.
Tire kickers. So guys, people who don't jump on this in terms of replying in a timely manner, people who don't understand their business, because David, if you were going to figure out their business for them, you might as well just start another business, right?
Exactly.
and then people like, maybe like you talked about the guy that was just breaking even, and if he said, and that's a beautiful story, but what if he said, yeah, I want to turn this around and sell this business for $10 million instead of $500,000. The $500,000 is pretty amazing to me, but $10 million in just a few months, then you might think, could happen, maybe, but that's a wee bit unrealistic. So you want to work with people who understand their market, they're realistic about what they're looking for, and they respond to you. You can tell this is a person who is serious about getting some help, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. That's guys, I hope you're taking notes, because David, a lot of what I do is teach people how to sell, and I guarantee you the qualification part is generally what most people completely miss. And then what they end up doing, they end up spending all their time. This is, I'm going to quit saying this because I love animals so much and I'm almost a vegan, but I've said it for so long I can't think of another metaphor. They spend their time basically whipping a dead horse, just trying to see if it's going to get up and go. It's never going to get up and go. But then they get really frustrated because all they've done is go on a few sales presentations with people who were never going to buy in the first place, right? And then they figure the business isn't going to work, and then they go on to some other shiny object. When, guys, make sure you understand this, if you learn how David qualifies businesses and what he's looking for, then you can talk to a lot more business potential clients who actually are serious, and you're going to start landing some deals and making some real money. Very cool. Very important stuff.
Yeah. So once you've got all that information, and they're happy to go ahead, let me just quickly show you a few more things that I don't think I've spoken to you about. I've actually put together the email follow-ups. You don't even have to write the email. So once the lead comes in, I've actually written the follow-ups for you. So let me just open some of this stuff.
This is the very definition of done for you.
Yeah, so let's just open the first one. So this is the initial email that I've pre-written for you. Obviously, you fill in the blanks and you fine-tune it based on who you're speaking to. And then once they've completed the questionnaire, they've come back to you. Then there is the next one, which is, let me just open. Apologies. Okay, so then there's the follow-up email with the actual proposal. There's two types of, yeah, that's right, I was in the right one. So this is the actual proposal. Let me just maybe minimize this.
Now, I know from talking to you over the, we've talked several times over the past couple of months, the actual proposal part is critically important.
Yeah, totally. So I've put together, but this is not the proposal. This is actually the email follow-up. This is the this is the email template that I send out to the potential clients after they've completed the questionnaire. So I just wanted to show you that before I show you the actual done for you proposal. I won't open the rest, but I'll just quickly show you. There's a shorter version of that proposal template, and then there's a third email to close the deal. And then there's, if they don't respond, we've got the first follow-up and the second follow-up, all of this stuff. I won't show you that, but all of that's done for you.
Right.
don't even have to write any of the email templates, because a lot of people go, yeah, we've built the page, we've got the lead, what do I do next? You know, I've actually given you my exact follow-up sequence to get them to fill out the questionnaire, get them to agree to the proposal for me to send it to them, and also if there's a third email to close the deal, and then some follow-ups just in case they're lingering, they're still a bit on the fence, and they're not sure whether they want to proceed.
Can we stop there for a minute, because I want to ask you a question?
Sure.
So basically, you're buying the traffic for yourself to get business for yourself. They end up filling out this questionnaire that gets sent back to you. You read that. I'm guessing you make a decision to send them that number 2 email, the detailed follow-up email with proposal attached. So if we talked about the 3 red flags. If somebody raises a big red flag, you probably just ignore them and move on. And then with the proposal attached, and then you've got a follow-up email with proposal attached. At which point, if you do, I don't know when you do, but in that follow-up, go back to the follow-up. At which point in that sequence do you yourself actually talk to, via Skype, Zoom, phone, whatever, actually talk to the
first step? So immediately after this first step, it's a questionnaire plus booking the call.
Gotcha. So okay.
In this email, it basically said there'll be a link to the Calendly. You'll put a link as well to get them to book a call. It's usually in the first step. You book the call, you'd have a chat with them, you'd go through the sequence step by step, and in this second step, this is the step where you actually attach the proposal. This is not the proposal, that's just the email template. Would you like to see what the proposal looks like?
I would love to, but I got one more quick question before we talk about that. So when you chat with them, okay, so they've gone to Calendly, they filled out the thing when you're going to chat, you get on the phone, whatever, and chat with them.
Yeah.
What are you chatting about? I mean, what do you ask them? What are you looking for?
Yeah, I actually go through all the questions in the questionnaire with them. I go through
I was
all
hoping
the
that was the answer.
And that when they start umming and ahhing and and you well, clearly they didn't answer that question truthfully, and that's another way to filter it out.
Well, now one more quick thing, then I'll let you go on. So guys, do you understand the quote unquote personal selling? Because I know that, David, that trips a lot of people up who want to do this stuff. Is what do you say? How do you say it? There's a lot of it can get stressful being a salesperson, right? Yeah, Eddie. Hey, Eddie, how you doing, buddy? This is freaking, Eddie says this is brilliant. This is freaking brilliant. So basically, see, I love stuff like this, David, because I love it when you let your assets do the selling for you, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got the questionnaire, they filled out the questionnaire, you're on a call with them. You don't have to be, Mr. and Ms. Genius now. All you got to do is just go through the freaking questionnaire.
Yeah,
which exactly. Takes guys, especially if you're new, that's going to take an enormous amount of stress off of you. You're not going to have to sit there thinking, oh God, are they answering? Oh crap, they answered. What am I going to say? I don't know what to say. Oh no, I'm talking to another human being. All you got to do is just say, hey, how you doing? Glad you figured that out. Well, listen, let's go over these questions real fast. I'm trying to understand your business so I can figure out how to help you. And then you just go over the questions and boom. This is freaking, Eddie, I agree, buddy. This is freaking brilliant. Okay, David, now you may go ahead.
All right, cool. So as I said before, look, we've done 20 different niche markets, and then there's the generic one. Let me just go.
I'm sorry. I'm really excited. I apologize, guys. So by having done 20 niche markets, you've got all of this stuff we've talked about and more for each of these 20 markets.
Every single one. Let me show you. Let's do.
We're not there yet, but I'm guessing this is going to cost people approximately $1 million or maybe their firstborn. No, it's not. It's literally, I just got through eating lunch with my wife and son a couple hours ago. It's going to cost you less than I spent for lunch. And the lunch does nothing for me after a couple hours. It's digested and I have to eat something else, right? And ignore that dog. That's one of my the people on webinars with me know that I love rescue dogs. Just ignore that guy. One of 2 dogs. They have slight behavioral problems, we just put up with them because we love them and we're happy to save their little souls. So
cool, cool, cool. So let me show you the proposal template. Okay, so we've got two, we've got one. All right, so let me just go to print this so you can see. Okay, so basically every proposal, so now you're at the point where you want to issue the proposal to the potential client. Now, obviously, you need to read through it and you need to make some minor changes for that particular client based on the information that they provide in the questionnaire, okay? So, but you're not going to do a lot of changes. So this is basically every single niche market has its own design front cover. You basically just got to put your name in Microsoft Word. There's a function, search and replace. You just search for this and you replace it with your name, and then search for this client company and replace it with the company name. Every proposal will have a unique intro to it. You know, are you a real estate broker and want to grow your customer base? So then there's an introduction that's targeted towards that particular niche market. And then it goes on to educate them, you know, explaining to them, you know, why should you take advantage of our marketing expertise for your business? There's a few bullet points there. And then just goes on to explain, you know, why it's necessary for you to use paid advertising in their business. And then goes on to explain why it's important to combine SEO and PPC, because a lot of people, right, they think, well, I'm already ranked for #1 for my business name. Why should I be spending any money on and you know what they're failing to realize is that there's so many of their competitors that are actually bidding on their business name and hijacking all of their traffic. And you know, this is one of the things that you can explain it to them. Let me just check one thing. I wasn't going to share
it's a
these,
really good point. So basically, even though you're ranking #1, 2, or 3, hopefully #1, you're still not getting all of the traffic that exists because a lot of that never even gets to you because it hits a paid ad somewhere, right?
Yeah, I wasn't going to share
important.
this, and I haven't showed it to you either. But I'm going to
There's
share
a lot
it.
of this stuff you haven't shown me, by the way, which is okay.
Yeah. let me just minimize this and let's move this over here. This is just an example, okay? All right, and this is just also to show you that you don't need to spend $1 million. And in this example, the brand name here. This is just a brand campaign. This is when people say, I'm already ranked #1 for my keyword. Like, why should I pay for any ads? A, because it's super cheap and your business name is actually not that very competitive, and you might as well take that those potential leads and sales. Let me quickly cover this for you. This is a brand campaign. This is the actual business name. This is an e-com company that I also own, and as you can see here, I'm paying 1 cent per click. I spent $32. I got 414 customers for $32. And that cost me 8 cents per conversion. This is just to give you an example. So I spent $32 to make $4,452 in sales, and this was just bidding on a business name. It wasn't bidding for, and this is why it's super important to combine SEO and PPC, because your competition is going to see this and go, you know what? Whoever Googles your business name, I'm going to hijack that traffic because you know what? It's only going to cost me 1 cent per click anyway. And for $32, I might as well get 400 new clients. So that's just to give you an example of how important it is. You know, and you can explain this to customers. And I'd be more than happy to make a screenshot of this and give you permission to actually show that to your potential customers. I'd be happy to do that so they can see the importance of it.
That would be wonderful if you could do that and then send it to me, and I'll just send it to the people who are on this webinar.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So sorry, I wasn't going to show that, but I thought that's just perfectly.
It's very exciting. I mean, my brain is now moving at about 40 million miles a minute just because of that one thing. Got a quick question for you before we move on. Wei wants to know, you know, you have all those niches that you've got this stuff for.
Yeah.
And this may not have an answer, but Wei wants to know which is the best or easiest of these to go into. I mean, is there an answer to that question?
Well, let me just look. There is, and I'll go through it with you. Let me just go into it. Okay, so Usually, I like to choose niche markets where there's a lot of money, right? Like in terms of the service is quite expensive, or
Right.
it's a demand service. So anybody looking to get their teeth done, or they're looking for a lawyer, there's a lot of money in these niche markets, and clients are willing to pay. For an attorney to close a client, they can make $500,000. They can make a lot of money, so they're willing to pay $2,500, $5,000 a month for you to help them with their lead generation, because money's not an issue. So I would. That's why I've covered these particular niche markets. Yeah, they are very competitive, but when you do things properly, you will get a much lower cost per conversion than the competition. But I tend to go for these particular niche markets because these guys are not time wasters. They're making good commissions from banks, from the insurance companies. They're selling properties. They're doing, they're helping people with their court cases or anything that they need help with. So there's a lot of money in these niche markets, and there's no point trying to go for someone that's selling a $10 widget, because they're not going to be able to afford a $2,500 or $5,000 upfront plus monthly fee. And that's why I've decided to do these particular niche markets, because either it's really in demand, whether that's a service or they make a lot of money in their particular business.
Love that. So basically you're looking for businesses where, essentially this is a way of pre-qualifying people in a way. In other words, you're looking for businesses who can actually, just by the structure of the business, can actually afford you.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that. Okay.
Would
Very
you
cool.
like to see like some of the landing pages? And I think this is going to blow people away, because
yeah, you explained this to me the other day, and it radically changed my point of view. So absolutely, please.
So the biggest mistake a lot of people make is that they think sexy sells better or it converts better. But I'm here to tell you it's actually the complete opposite. And I'm going to show you a few examples. Let me just load up some of the templates. Let me just grab the right page. All right, let me grab this and put it over here. So I've got permission from my clients. Like I could actually show you guys so much more, but I sign NDAs with all my clients, and so should you. And these guys have been happy and willing enough to let me share, what I'm doing for them. Now, this is actually a really cool case study. This guy, his name is George, and he was basically working, 40-hour weeks, earning a really low income. And he said, I want to start a business, making these flags and shipping them out to the UK. And I said, okay, cool. Just trust me on this. The page is going to look ugly, okay? So don't freak out when you see it. He said, okay, cool. I'm in your hands. Let's do it. And we set up this really ugly looking page. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's just a really simple page. And long story short, within the first 12 months, he'd done over 250,000 euros in sales on a $10 per day budget to begin with. So he didn't spend a lot of money. And all he's doing is making these custom flags, and he's drop shipping them to the UK. After people fill in the form, then they'll go to a live chat, and then he's got a sequence, and it's a different funnel for different clients. This is a physical product, but I just wanted to show you this particular funnel and website, because he has given me permission to share that with your audience today. I'm going to show you another one. Doesn't it look familiar?
But the thing is, you have, what you explained to me the other day, this isn't like this because this is the first idea you landed on. This is the result of massive amounts of split testing.
Yeah, so I've spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars sending, because I just couldn't believe it at first. I thought, no, it can't be right. Like even looking at this page, there's an error on this page, but still, it still manages to convert. Now, the story behind this particular business is one of my friends, Mark, he's actually had a full-time job and he was working part-time in his hobby business, and he was selling moisture meters to, manufacturers and wholesalers of coffee beans and wheat and things like this. Is industries that I've never heard of, and which is why I set up the business, the B2B keywords, because what happens there is you start to discover new niche markets that you never even thought would make money. So this guy started this business with me. I told him we're going to set up this simple, ugly page. That's all it is. It's a one-page website. Well, there's a few other pages because you need to have privacy policy and contact and so on. But he made over 700,000 euros in sales in the first 6 months on a $10 per day ad spend. And this was all part-time while he had a full-time job. So I was like, well, okay, that's pretty cool.
That's crazy. So, how much did he make?
Sorry?
How much was his revenue during those few months?
Well, it's a lot more now, but at the time, the first 6 months, it was 700,000.
I'm speechless, which is, now that you know me, you know that happens very rarely.
Yeah, well, and from the beginning, he was like, you know what, this looks really ugly. And there was a few campaigns that didn't work, and we were blaming the landing page. But I'm going to show you like some of the important things that one of the things on the sign up page that we're going to show you what's really important. And this page works really well on mobile. But I usually just have a headline, just talking about, what they came for. So if they see an ad with handheld moisture meters, then you want to make sure that that's really the first thing that they see when they land on the page. I usually have a hero image or a video. I'm going to show you how this applies to local business in a minute, but I'm just going to quickly share the points that are important. And then below that hero image, I always have 3 benefits, features and benefits. And then I go straight for the opt-in form, and then some extra information. This is actually a lot longer than what I would normally do, but then some basic information, easy as 1, 2, 3, or whatever the business is, and that's pretty much it. Just make sure that you're giving them exactly what they searched for. If they're looking for a football flag, just make sure that that's the first thing they see. Now, when you do jump onto the consultants pack, we do give you one HTML version of this page, okay? But there are a few upgrades which I'll talk about later on. But just to show you what I include, let me just grab it. So in the consultants pack, you'll get done for you proposal templates. You'll get the fact-finding questionnaire that I discussed earlier. Also, there'll be a social media calendar, and this will allow you to add more revenue to your business. So once you've closed the local business, you can then upsell them to social media management. You can charge them $300 to $500 a month, and you can use the done for you calendar for you to enter information and manage their social media. You'll get the pre-written emails that I showed you before. You'll get the Ppc keywords to target and the negative keywords. I'll just quickly explain what negative keywords are, if you don't mind. Now, negative keywords are keywords that you want to exclude from your campaign. So if somebody's searching for, free advice, free mortgage advice, or the word free, you want to make sure that keyword will never make your ads appear. So there's hundreds of negative keywords. I have a massive list of negative keywords that I always upload to my accounts. And what this does is it helps you save a lot of money, because if you don't have the right negative keywords, you're going to be paying for a lot of junk traffic that will never convert. So this just one thing alone is really going to help your business. Even if you're already running campaigns, I highly recommend just grab this one thing and upload it to your account. You'll notice a massive difference. Now, I also have social media posts. Now, these are, so as well as the Google ads, the Google display banner ads, which I'll show you in a second. So in each one, I'll just show you the banner ads to show you one of the banner sets. So you get basically the done for you display banner ads. You'll also get all of the text ads for all of the, let me just grab that over. So we've basically written out text ads for every single niche market, several of them for chiropractors, we'll just go on, there's attorneys and so on. Every single niche market has multiple text ads You'll get the banner ads included as well. And I'll just quickly go back to this. And this is a cool one. You get the video sales letter script. Now, a lot of people are very nervous about jumping up in front of the camera or doing a voiceover or even selling in general. Like, people are just absolutely terrified of selling. So what I decided to do was create the actual sales video for you. It's completely done for you, and you've got the right to use it on, let me just grab it for you now. You've got the right to use this sales video on all of your lead generation sites, whether it's the pages that you get from me or from someone else. This is a done for you sales video with a professional voiceover, and that's completely done for you.
This is huge, by the way, and I didn't even know this part either.
Yeah, there's a lot more to what we spoke about.
Yes, I know, but it's all amazing.
Yeah. Let me just go back here. So you get that video sales letter, and you get the video sales letter script. So for those people that are actually quite confident to do a voiceover and they want to change the script, I've actually given you all the source. By the way, everything here, you have all the source files. I had a client recently from Vienna, and he's like, oh, can we change this to German? I'm like, sure, go for it. You've got all the source files for all the banners. You've got the video sales letter script that you can translate. So everything's customizable. Now, you do get the exact landing page design in HTML, but there are a few upgrades. I use a few plugins, the done for you sales letter and the pre-written PPC keywords, the text ads and the keywords. So that's the consultant's pack that I've put together for all of you guys. So it's really, really valuable. It's cost me tens of thousands of dollars in testing to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And I've split tested adverts. I've got the list of negative keywords and what to exclude as well. And obviously there's a few over the shoulder training videos that I provide as well that show you how exactly I set up these campaigns. So you can look over my shoulder and just watch me. How does Dave do it? How does he generate leads? What changes does he make to his account? So that's all in there as well.
So David, let me just put a pin in that and kind of summarize a minute. So, many weeks ago, a couple of months ago, I said, could you come on a webinar with me and just show my guys the basics of how to do this stuff? And you said, yeah, absolutely. And I really appreciate your time and the thought you put into this. But then you said, hey, Lee, I'll do you one better. I'll just create this whole thing so you guys don't even really have to think too much. And folks, that's what we're looking at right here. So David, do you have anything else to show us besides the consultant's pack letter there?
Yeah, I'm just seeing if I've covered everything in here.
Because at some point I want to get the control of the screen back, and then let's just kind of go through the sales letter a little bit.
You can take over now, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So hang on, guys. We'll make me the presenter, and hold on. So basically what we've learned thus far, I mean, we've gotten an amazing overview of how, with details of how David runs this 7-figure business. And I say 7 figures, sometimes that blows people out of the water when I say things like that. Notice that David started talking about a lot of his clients who started out with very, very small ad spends, $5 a day, $10 a day. $10 a day is $300 a month, and then rapidly built up really, really great businesses. And Dave has been so kind as to basically put all this stuff together for you. Instead of, it was beautiful showing you how this business worked, but there's a big difference between knowing how to do something or thinking you know how to do something and then having a guy like this put it all together so that really you've got everything done for you. And this is a package that David is calling his consultant's pack, because that's really what it is. Now, number one, Wei, I'm going to use you here to pop the link to this page in again. I've popped it in a few times while we were talking about everything, but I'm just popping it in there. Number one, this normally sells for right at $1,000, and well, it should, honestly, because it's an enormous amount of. Let me just stress that it's an enormous amount of stuff, but this isn't just some crap that somebody put together that looks good. This literally is the result of years of expertise and tens of thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of split testing. I mean, David has this down to a science, and he's going to, this is a very limited time offer, but if you want to get in on this, selling this to you for $37, which, David, I mean, keep it there, don't change it, David. This is an amazing price. I mean, literally, this is less than I spent for lunch today. So, but let's look at what all you get. And again, you get everything that he showed us and more. The proposal templates, the fact-finding questionnaire. In other words, you're going to not only learn how David only deals with the best of clients, not tire kickers, not people who are going to make you miserable. You know, not only do you learn how he qualifies, not only do you learn all about buyer keywords, but he's actually giving you all of this stuff for all of these niches. And we'll show the niches in just a second, but he's giving you, David, this is like you're giving them a freaking business here, you know? I mean, you've got everything that you need to hit the ground running with this. Go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, look, what I ask in return is, you know, share your success story with me. You know, this is, I know this is worth a lot more than what you guys are going to get for, but I would love to hear your success story. You know, implement it, make it work for your business, make some money, and let me know straight away. Let me know when you get your first lead. Let me know when you get your first client. I want to know, and I want to use that success story because when I do bump it back up to the $1,000, that's going to help me a lot. So,
Absolutely.
you know, if you're happy to share that success story, that would mean so much to me. That would be great.
So these guys get everything. I mean, they get the, you know, the landing page. They even got pre-written text ads and tons of other stuff. I just can't emphasize for many niches. And again, we'll get to the niches in a sec. But I can't emphasize the level of done for you-ness by a freaking expert. Okay. I mean, I look up to David as a freaking expert. He makes me feel like I'm in kindergarten, which is good. I'm always happy to be around people who know more about stuff than I do, because that's how I learn. But I mean, this guy is a mega big deal. So proposal templates, fact-finding questionnaire, exact landing page template. You guys saw that ugly landing page, and I know, David, you showed me the ugly landing page like 2 weeks ago. And, you know, I thought, well, that's cool. Even I could make that, which is laughable because I can approximately check my email online. But that freaking thing works, guys. I mean, it's not slick, it's not sexy, but it freaking works. I mean, you saw that screenshot of his conversions, right? That was insane. A penny a click, plus lots of other little dealies like bidding on your own company's name. I thought that was freaking genius. Social media calendar template, that helps you upsell your client, make even more money. Pre-written follow-up emails, all of this stuff, these great ads. David, I'm guessing that the look of the ad, you know, where the text is, how big it is, and these colors and all this stuff, this is all split tested too, right?
Yeah, well, we like to go with dark backgrounds. That works really well. A lot of the keywords, the search terms, have been heavily split tested, especially the business-to-business ones. So with these ads, you know, I always recommend split testing, and because you will encounter new niche markets, and because all of this stuff is editable, and you get all the Photoshop files and everything like that. I highly recommend that you do continue to split test, you know, because things are changing and markets change.
Sure.
But I want you to think that, you know, this is going to work you know, like this design, this banner ad is going to work forever. Maybe after your client fills out the questionnaire, you might discover something new or a new word that people in that industry use, and you might think, okay, well, let's just put 2 and 2 together. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. Just maybe test a different headline or test a different color if you like, and see how you go.
But also,
all these banner ads work. They do definitely work.
Yeah, they don't have to be rocket scientists, but on the other hand, and things do change, but on the other hand, they don't have to spend years learning this stuff and getting to your level of expertise. They can buy it from you today for only $37. The sales video, awesome, guys. You can go here, you can click this, you take a look at it, scripts and voiceovers, all of this stuff. You get all this stuff for and these bonuses. I especially like this one. Okay, you showed me that Ultimate PPC Traffic Sources Guide. That is really cool. Yeah. So guys, John, I'm using you as an example. I know you got a question. We got some questions that we'll get to in a little bit during Q&A, but I'm just putting the link down there. Now, the niche markets, or David, excuse me, niche markets. I showed my Americanness there for a moment. But the niche, I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on getting less provincial. But anyway, the niche markets that are included: doctors, attorneys, carpet cleaners, chiropractors, dentists. I mean, insurance brokers. And again, these aren't just businesses just pulled out of a hat. These are businesses chosen, A, because David's worked with them before, but B, chosen for a very specific reason because of the way their business works and the fact that A, they have to advertise a lot. They're in competitive businesses, but they also have the money and the mindset of actually spending money to advertise. All of these businesses, and I know some of you all have a specific question about this because you've asked me, and you know who you are, and we're going to talk about this during Q&A. A generic consultants pack. Yeah. So David, let's say that somebody is really focused on a business that's not on this list. Well, number one, they've got the pattern, right? I mean, they can see what they need for. I mean, I'm just free-forming here. I've never even thought about this, but mortuaries, okay? I mean, it's a business that gets a lot, that makes a lot of money per deal, right? But let's say that they're focused on mortuaries, where they really could take your generic pack, and they really could take these, and they could just kind of massage it. You give them the PSD files, which means they could either pop that in the graphic thing themselves, or hire somebody, right?
Exactly. But I've got generic PPC ads, whether that's like to get more leads or to get more clients, and I provide the Photoshop files. There'll be some minor changes to the proposals that get sent out. The questionnaires remain the same, but it's really to do with the actual ads. And that's why I included the B2B niche keywords.
Right.
And that's why I also, there's an extra folder in the main Dropbox members area where you can just select the generic ads, and you can fine tune it. You can swap out the sales copy in the banner ad and swap the image out if you like. You've got all the source files to all of that. So it's not specific, it's not industry specific. It's just very, very simple. That says, does your business want to get more leads? And that's actually how I found industries like moisture meters, or that's when you start doing these generic campaigns.
Exactly.
Start to discover so many different niche markets that you just never even knew existed. Like that. So that's a really cool bonus.
Well, let's go with moisture meters, because who in their right mind would have ever thought of that as a business in the first place? Yeah. But I mean, obviously somebody did, and your client's making a ton of money out of it. But so when
somebody would just type in something generic, like how to sell more, make more sales on my e-commerce shop, a long tail keyword like that, or make more product sales, or sell more Shopify products, or whatever. Is like really generic. And then these leads tend to this traffic tends to provide leads in particular industries and niche markets. And you just thought, whoa, seriously, they're selling a moisture meter?
Yeah. And also, let's say somebody wants to, let's say one of these guys gets a moisture meter type lead, then they don't have to say, no, I can't work with you because it's not on David's list of stuff, right?
Yeah.
They can just really look at how you did this, and you know, there's 20-25% of the stuff that needs changing, like the graphics, you know, and the wording on the graphics, et cetera, et cetera. But guys, you can easily take what you have here. I mean, you can approach these, see, I can't even say the word niches yourself, or you can easily massage this for other types of businesses, and it's well worth that for the price, which is still insane.
Another thing to keep in mind is, you know, don't just think your backyard, your neighborhood. You know, think other countries. Think think about. Don't just go for the main cities, because I think a lot of people might be thinking, well, what if everybody does this? Doesn't it become saturated? Don't the ad costs rise? But the world is such a big place. There's so many millions of businesses around the world in different parts of the world that all have a very similar problem. So when you are setting up your ad campaigns, I highly recommend, setting up ads in in specific cities, or maybe different countries. If you do know a second language, or you know how to get things translated, I highly recommend tapping into the foreign language market too, because a lot of these business owners do speak English, and they can provide all the right keywords, and you can provide a lot of consulting. I've done a lot of consulting for foreign language markets. The business owners know how to speak English, and they hire me for consulting and done-for-you services, but they're running their entire business in a completely different language. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Don't just go for, New York, London, like the big cities that are highly competitive. There are so many different cities around the world that you can tap into. A lot of English-speaking, places, of course.
Love this. So guys, there you have it. David's showed us how this entire business works, and this is obviously a wildly profitable business. He's provided you with exactly what you need to get started with this for an amazing price. And again, I'll pop the link to this sales letter right here into the chat. David, you're going to keep this open for, I think, a few days for my guys, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so it's not open forever, guys. So yeah. You don't have to buy this, but if you want to buy it, now's the time.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Q&A, unless, David, there's something that we've missed in terms of showing this to people, some big thing.
I think we covered everything.
I think we did. So how about Q&A? I got one for you. David, another David, not you, wants to know where you're located, the UK or Australia. And this also goes into what you just said about you can work with anybody anywhere. You don't have to give away your location totally, but
that's fine. So I was born and raised in Australia, and I moved to Europe about 7 years ago. I'm now currently located in Slovakia. I do travel the world. I travel several different countries nearly once a month, and this business has just allowed me to live completely, a lifestyle that I never thought that I would be living, to be honest. Like, I always dreamed about people, having this laptop kind of lifestyle, but I've been doing this for many, many years, and I decided to base myself here. This is where I've got family, and I'm located in Slovakia. I do swap between different countries. I'm going to different events and meeting different people, but I really like being in Europe because it's just so close to so many other countries, cultures and cuisines, and that's just
cool place to be. Yeah. I think every time you and I talk, you're like either headed to another city or you're just leaving another city. It's amazing. It's like, Lee, Wi-Fi is really bad here. I think you were in Israel at some conference or something, and then next time, I don't know how the hell you got from there to Canada, but next time weren't you in Montreal or something?
Well, actually, I went to Las Vegas straight after that.
Okay, so Israel, United States, Montreal,
well,
Vienna.
The thing is, I was actually meant to go to. I missed my flight from.
That's right.
From Canada to Vienna because of that, I missed my other flight to Thailand. And you know what? Because of the type of business I'm in, I can just say, you know what, screw it. And I just said, screw it. I'm staying in Montreal. I've never been here before, so I'm going to stay here for a few days. And I just decided to stay and work from Montreal, and then I flew back home after that.
It's very cool having a business like that. Absolutely. More questions. Mike's got a very specific question about Google. Does Google give you lower cost per click or higher ad ranking when landing pages are fast loading HTML and not WordPress slow?
Okay, so look, firstly, there are a lot of WordPress plugins that do make pages fast, but I won't get into that. And I do recommend, making sure that you do have a very fast website. But to answer your question, yes, Google rewards you with obviously a better cost per click when you give the user what they're looking for. And one of the ways we do that is through dynamically inserting keywords. So what that means is, just say somebody types something into Google, and that is, mortgage broker in London. And with this dynamic insertion, it makes sure that that keyword is in the ad. So the person's typed in mortgage broker, LA, New York, London, whatever it is, then they see the ad with the exact same headline that they've typed in. And then when they click on that ad, they see the exact same headline on the landing page, and that makes the user feel like, hey, I'm in the right place at the right time. And when they go through this process and they become a lead, Google can see that conversion, and over time, your cost per click comes down because you have a high click-through rate. When you have a high click-through rate, your cost per click comes down, which means your cost your cost per conversion is lower, which gives you a much better return on your ad spend. This doesn't happen overnight. This is a process, and there are so many hundreds of different variables at play here. But there is no one thing that you do that will, allow Google to give you a lower cost per click. The one thing you should always keep at the top of your mind is that how do I give the user the best experience? I want them to feel like they've made this search, they've clicked on my ad, they've landed on my page. I want them to feel like, hey, I'm in the right place at the right time, and they feel comfortable enough to complete the form. It triggers a conversion. When Google sees that, what they see is that, hey, you're giving them what they came for. And by doing that, they do reward you over time. I've noticed it. There is no doc. You won't read this online. This is just through thousands and thousands of dollars of testing for me to see, how that works. But that's the only thing you should always worry about. So everybody listening right now, only worry about giving the user the best experience, giving them what they came for, and in turn, Google will reward you. That's
like the best advice ever, because I think, and God knows I'm no expert, you are, but I think that a lot of times with a lot of training and stuff that that I take, or stuff that I read, it's so easy to get like, down some rabbit hole about little dealies that you're supposed to do here or there, but it's such a centering idea when you think, well, wait a minute, let me just give people what they came here for in the first place. Mm-hmm. Love that. Any other questions, guys? I think I pretty well covered all the questions. We did have we had the same question from 3 different people, so let's talk about this. We've kind of alluded to it, but looking at the niches that you've included, a couple of people wanted to know, why isn't auto repair included? Well, for one thing, guys, you've got, I think we've explained, you got what you need now to do this for any type of business whatsoever, but was there a specific reason, or did you not think about it, or whatever,
I haven't had any experience with auto repair.
Makes total sense.
But I tell you what I'm going to do. Just for your audience, I'll tell you what, I will put together over the next few days, I will do the research, and I'll put together a pack for auto repair.
Wow. Mike, did you hear that? And the other 2 people that asked the question, that's huge. I did not expect you to do that. That's totally huge, guys.
No, we've got the foundation sorted. I can, it's really, I've got to put the time into doing the keyword research, and so speaking to my designer to put together the pack and make some minor adjustments to the proposal. But yeah, I'd be happy to.
That
do
is
that.
really That's going above and beyond right there, really. I really do appreciate that. So, guys, this obviously, when you buy this today, tomorrow, whatever, this obviously isn't going to be in there at that moment, but uh, give the man a few days and it will be in there.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. We're having a lot of people saying thank you for Auto. So I think yeah, this is a very, very good thing to do. So if somebody buys this, right? If somebody buys this consultants pack, are there any upsells to this that they A, should know about, and B, and I know you would never do this because I know you pretty well now, B, that they would have to have in order to make this work?
Yeah, no. So basically, there are a few upsells. We do have a WordPress plugin with which you do have to purchase to get all of the niche markets, and it's still cheaper than Lee Cole's lunch. Okay, just to prepare you, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg or anything like that. But it's a specific plugin that we've built to edit this exact landing page layout. We've got a basic version and a pro version. With the basic version, I believe you get access to 5 niche markets, and with the pro version, which is not that expensive at all, you get access to the all the niche markets. That's one of the upgrades. The other upgrade is a conversion boosting plugin, which is not necessary. It's just something that I've used in my business to help keep things relevant. Remember what I spoke about before about user typing something into Google and then they see it in the ad and then they see it on the landing page. This particular plugin helps you put that search term on the landing page dynamically, so you actually don't need to build 1,000 pages. You just build one page for 1,000 keywords and it will dynamically change automatically. And once again, this is not super expensive. It's a very, very low cost plugin, and it just works for dynamically inserting keywords. And the final upgrade is Ppc Kit. For those of you that have purchased one of my products before, I am the creator of Ppc Kit, and Ppc Kit, it helps you properly structure your Google ad campaigns. Like in that screenshot that I showed you before, where I spent $32 to make $4,500 in sales. That campaign was built with Ppc Kit. Now, it's not necessary to buy Ppc Kit to get these results. You can still do all of this stuff manually if you want to, but once again, it's not expensive. That's also still on an early adopter deal until the end of the year. So that's that's all there is. And once again, you don't need to buy the one-time offers to make this work. You can dip your toes in and have a look and see what it's like, see if it's going to work for your business. But I do guarantee that if you do use these tools, you will get results. So I highly recommend that you do grab them while they're still on an early adopter low price. But also, don't forget, I would love your testimonial. This is the catch, right? this is the reason I'm doing it. I want to hear your success story. So I thought if I can put this in as many hands as possible, this is going. There's a better chance of me, getting to help a lot more businesses and get a lot more success stories.
Guys, in other words, in a few months, because you're on a bunch of people's lists. Obviously, you're on my list. That's how you got here. But you're on a bunch of people's lists, as well you should be. But in a few months, you're going to get hit up about webinars, and you're going to go to a webinar, and you're going to say, man, I already saw that. That was with David and Lee. And if you stick through to the end of the webinar, the price is going to be $997, and you got it for $37. So you can feel very, very, very smart about that. David, can you give us like a range for those upsell prices? I already know that your upsell prices are really affordable, but I got a couple of people, and I understand why. You talk about Lee Cole's lunch. Lee actually doesn't spend a ton of money on lunch. Lee's cheap. Lee likes money. I just don't like to spend it. But could you give us kind of a range for that?
The range is from $17 to $37. Like, this is ridiculous.
There you go, John. In other words, an insane amount of value, guys, for real. I mean, I have. David, you gave me Ppc Kit, and I really appreciate that. It is amazing, and just like an insane amount of value for the amount of money that you're currently charging for it. Ditto the other stuff, the
And one thing
dynamic insertion plugin.
another thing to note with that, with PPC Kit, like this, I've taken a very manual and labor-intensive task and I've automated it. You know, agencies are charging $2,500, $5,000 to set up and manage campaigns. PPC Kit takes an 8-hour task and condenses it into 30 to 60 seconds. It's just like installing a piece of software on your computer. It's that simple. You just go through the wizard, it exports the campaign, you upload it to your Google account, and you've just saved yourself hours and hours of work trying to figure it out all out manually.
Very, very, very cool. But let me also reiterate for people that if they buy Consultants Pack, they're 90% the way there anyway, because you're giving them the keywords, right?
Yeah,
you know, I mean, I know PPC Kit does track some stuff and does some stuff beyond that, but for somebody who, like you said, is just now getting into this, a little hesitant to spend a ton of money, and I completely understand that, guys, but you've got what you need with this one purchase, of Consultants Pack. Okay, this one thing, you've got what you need to hit the ground running, and just with this one thing, create a phenomenal business. James is in. James says, auto repair pack. Wow, I am in. Yep. Ron, yep. David wants to know, David Kusky wants to know, David, do you offer the opportunity to hire you or work with you?
Well, to be honest, well, I'm always honest. It's not a fair statement, but
oh, you really are. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that I try to only take. I can't take on any more than 2 or 3 clients at a time, because I'm involved with so many different projects, and it's not cheap. It's usually $10,000 as a starting point now. So I've changed my pricing. And you will probably end up doing the same thing too as you learn all this stuff and start to grow your business. You'll get to the point where you want to cherry pick and increase your prices. But my done-for-you services are a lot more expensive now than what they were. I do have a done-with-you service that's $2,500, where I'll set up a few campaigns and I'll coach you and guide you in setting all of these things up. But it's usually on a case-by-case basis. I want to make sure that I can help you before I take it on, and I usually jump on a call and we'll do an analysis, a competitive analysis. And I think a lot of agencies just take on work because they think they can, you know, because they just want the money. But for me, it's like I want to make sure I can produce a result. Otherwise, you get like a refund straight away, and I want to make sure. So to answer your question, yes, but I can't guarantee that's going to happen anytime soon, as I'm quite bogged down with a lot of things. But
I think that's a very fair answer. Thank you so much. Wei wants to know, he says, hang on, suddenly I had a bunch more questions while I was trying to read that. Hold on. He says, you had SEO in the sample proposal, what to do with it? I'm not sure I understand that. David, do you understand what Wei's answer?
So basically in the sample proposal, it's just explaining to the potential customer that it's important to have SEO and PPC, because the potential customer is thinking, well, I'm already ranked #1 for my business name. Why do I need some ads? And that's why I just go through that short paragraph explaining that it's important for them to dominate as much of the front page as they can, not only with their front page ranking of their business name, but also to have an ad targeting their business name as well.
Absolutely. I'm just sitting here typing out answers to some questions. Mike says, easily one of the best trainings all year. I would second that. I see a ton of stuff, as you know, David. This is beyond awesome, and of a quality. The quality is just insane, and also what, you know, like your answer to gosh, I've forgotten your name. I apologize. I'm looking at like 40 million names here. Your answer to the question about can people hire you? what an upfront ethical answer. I really appreciate that. So guys, you know that David's the real deal, right? And you know that this isn't just some stuff with a pretty sales letter just put together just to sell you some crap. This is something that's actually either going to allow you to create your first real business. Real means, in my world, you pay the bills with it, you put money in the bank with it, et cetera, et cetera. Or if you already have an ongoing business and you add this to the top of this, I mean, you add all of this PPC stuff to the top of your, in addition to your ongoing business, it's literally, not that you would do this without supervision, it's literally going to be like squirting gasoline onto a small fire. You're just going to create a ginormous conflagration. Jessica, the upsells are $17 to $37. The OTOs will be available for a few days. And got any questions that I've missed, guys? I've tried to scroll back because we had some questions early on. I've tried to scroll back and see. Dennis says, can it be done on a smartphone? I'm really not sure what the it refers to.
Yeah, well, no. You can create campaigns on your phone. I wouldn't recommend it. If you have a laptop or a computer, I'd highly recommend doing it. You can't edit a Photoshop file. Well, some people can on their iPads. You can access everything on your smartphone, definitely. Like you can go through and browse through, see what's available, watch the training videos, read the traffic sources guide. You can do all that on your smartphone, definitely. But when it comes to the actual implementation of it, I highly recommend using a computer.
That's fair. That's fair. And Janice, there will be a replay. We're recording this whole thing. The replay should be up later on this evening. And you answered Dennis's question, so you understood and answered it the way he wanted it answered. Awesome. So Janice, I have to download this, run it through Camtasia, do a couple of little dealies to it, and then we'll have it up. And I'll email it out to you guys. And also make sure that you have emails over the course of the next few days so you don't miss out on the time when the price is really, really excellent as it is now. Guys, David, we've been on here an hour and a half, buddy, and I really, really do appreciate your time.
No, that's good.
Guys,
that's a share.
We got the man himself here right now. Does anybody have a question that you just really need to ask? And look, and also for people looking at the real replay, if you like tonight, tomorrow morning, you think, oh God, I wish I asked Lee to ask David this question. That's cool. You've got my support ticket system. You got our backup support email. Most of y'all are connected with me somewhere via social media. Send me the question. Okay, David's going to be happy to answer it. But while we got the man on here right now, any other questions? David, I think we're good, buddy.
Awesome.
I really do appreciate this. I knew Consultants Pack was, because you showed it to him, I knew it was incredible. Now that I've been through you explaining all of this, I'm just sort of, I'm like Mike. I'm thinking this is the best thing I've seen all year, if not for the past several years. I really do appreciate your sharing this with my guys.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. James says great value, Lee. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Again, the replay will be up very soon. We will be emailing this out to you. Dennis is all in. Wise decision, Dennis. This is amazing stuff. David, thank you so much. And guys, God bless you. I love you. I don't have a business without you. And let's make 2020 your best year ever. Mike, Merry Christmas to you, buddy. Talk to you all soon.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye.